a clip of Republican Senator Ted Cruz from during the 2016 presidential GOP primary era, where he was running against Trump in that primary, has resurfaced. It's going viral once again, and it highlights, it emphasizes what makes Ted Cruz such a dishonest individual in American politics. And what's fascinating is most of the time when I'm showing you a clip that's enraging, it's because what they're saying is dishonest. In the clip I'm going to show you, this is again from the 2016 primary race, he was correct. He was accurately assessing Trump as a person, his dishonesty, all of that. And now when you juxtapose that with the words that come out of Ted Cruz's mouth about Trump now and the actions he takes in supporting Trump's agenda and his rhetoric and all of that, now we are reminded, as I'm sure you've been aware of for a long time, the type of person that Ted Cruz is. But here's this from the 2016 Republican primary, where Ted Cruz is accurately analyzing Trump.
I don't think this country's ever seen. Donald Trump is such a narcissist that Barack Obama looks at him and goes, dude, what's your problem? Everything in Donald's world is about Donald. And he combines being a pathological liar. And I say pathological because I actually think Donald, if you hooked him up to a lie detector test, he could say one thing in the morning, one thing at noon, and one thing in the evening, all contradictory, and he'd pass the lie detector test each time. Whatever lie he's telling at that minute, he believes it. But the man is utterly amoral. Let me finish this, please. The man is utterly amoral. Morality does not exist for him. It's why he went after Heidi directly and smeared my wife, attacked her. Apparently, she's not pretty enough for Donald Trump. I may be biased, but I think if he's making that allegation, he's also legally blind. But Donald is a bully. You know, we just visited with fifth graders. Every one of us knew bullies in elementary school. Bullies don't come from strength. Bullies come from weakness. Bullies come from a deep, yawning cavern of insecurity. There is a reason Donald builds giant buildings and puts his name on them everywhere he goes. And I will say, there are millions of people in this country who are angry. They're angry at Washington. They're angry at politicians who've lied to them. I understand that anger. I share that anger. And Donald is cynically exploiting that anger, and he is lying to his supporters. Donald will betray his supporters on every issue. If you care about immigration, Donald is laughing at you. And he's telling the moneyed elites he doesn't believe what he's saying. He's not going to build a wall. That's what he told the New York Times. He will betray you on every issue.
Now, when I say that he was accurately assessing Trump, I don't mean he was delivering in a way that wasn't super cringy, because he does do this thing like, I am really passionate about what I'm saying. I promise I'm a real person who cares about things like a person. But setting that aside, the narcissist part of it, him being immoral, it all being about Trump, it's all true. Now, do we hear that from Ted Cruz these days? No. He's a big Trump bootlicker, and he was a part of trying to stand in the way of the certification of the 2020 election based on lies that Trump told. Why? Because he had real evidence to the claims he was making? No, because his fifis were hurt. He couldn't imagine losing to Sleepy Joe, but he did.
Yeah. So first things first, I want to thank you for subjecting me to that 2 minute and 20-second clip. I felt every second of it, man. And then you said that this show was going to be fun. We had so many things to get into, and you introduce a Ted Cruz clip. So just I needed to process it for a minute. But in terms of the substance of what he said, first, it is appropriate to call out Ted Cruz's delivery, because he radiates insincerity. Like, obviously, there's a cynicism, I think, to a lot of politicians, if not most, if not all. I think that there's some cynical element there. I feel like you have to in order to be a successful career politician for a matter of decades. But Cruz just like there's no veil, he sounds so fake. At one point, he's defending his wife, rightly so, against the character attacks made against her by President Trump, then Donald Trump, and then later on in the same clip, he kind of like moves in front of her when he's just like, get out of my way,
you're done.
but yeah, at the end of the day, he did correctly diagnose Donald Trump as a malignant narcissist, and not only did he just mention it in passing, he just gave a 2 minute and 20-second speech about it. And it probably went on even at some point, the reporters were like, okay, so we have some other thing. No. Let me finish. And he wants to go on about Trump's character faults and then to do the 180.
And of course, the iconic example of the low character person, the two-faced nature of Ted Cruz is highlighted no better than comparing that and Ted Cruz's response. He saw it a little bit there, but there's other clips of him as well, to Trump with that tweet alluding to his wife, trying to say that she was ugly by that tweet with Melania and all that. And Ted Cruz was like, you don't come after my wife, which, as you said, that's correct. You shouldn't do that. You can come after me, but you don't come after my wife. Again, good energy. And then not too long after, there's that photo of him phone banking for Trump.
Well, that's the thing, Luke. That's the thing. He didn't actually follow through with the sentence. He's like, no, you don't come after my wife, or else I will have to vote for and support you and phone bank for you. Don't you do it. Don't make me support you by insulting my wife publicly to the nation.
And we talked about during the last show, DeSantis, who is obviously afraid of just calling out Trump aggressively because he's afraid of the Trump base. And that's what it is here, where instead of choosing principles and dignity and any sort of integrity, a lot of these individuals fell in line. Even people who had their wife attacked, like Ted Cruz did. And he obviously was personally attacked constantly, but he still fell in line. And now he's in private. He probably hates the fact that he has to be a little puppy for Trump and he has to lick the boots of Trump constantly. But you allowed that to happen. You chose, because it was politically advantageous in the moment, to support Trump. And now y'all just can't get rid of him. And that's on you.
100%. Now, my fear is, didn't you say there are more clips to this effect?
I'm going to subject you to more, but this is now Lindsey Graham, who I guess gives Ted Cruz a run for his money for flip-flopping on the issue of Trump. And this is during also, I'm pretty sure, Lindsey Graham was a presidential candidate as well during the same primary, and he had some tough words for Donald Trump that he definitely has not stuck by.
To hearing what Donald Trump says.
Disgusted. Well, I want to talk to the Trump supporters for a minute. I don't know who you are, and I don't know why you like this guy. I think what you like about him, he appears to be strong when the rest of us are weak. He's a very successful businessman, and he's going to make everything great. He's going to take all the problems of the world and put them in a box and make your life better. That's what he's selling. Here's what you're buying. He's a race-baiting, xenophobic, religious bigot. He doesn't represent my party. He doesn't represent the values that the men and women who wear the uniform are fighting for. I've been in the Air Force for 33 years. I retired this June. He's the ISIL Man of the Year, by the way. Just got back from Iraq a week ago this Monday.
I know, we interviewed you live from there. You were with Senator John McCain, and you were going into Iraq to get a status report. What were they saying there about?
Again, accurate statements being made. And now you want to get queued up with this next clip of Lindsey Graham during Sean Hannity recently. He's a little different on the subject of Trump. Now he's nearly crying, fundraising for the man.
Two back-to-back Grahams. Okay.
I'm punishing you.
Hi, DonaldJTrump.com. Go tonight. Give the president some money to fight this bullshit. This is going to destroy America. We're going to fight back at the ballot box. We're not going to give in. How does this end, Sean? Trump wins in court, and he wins the election. That's how this ends.
So brave and courageous. Same guy. Okay, we just showed you the same guy. And is it because Trump changed a lot? Is it because he's just become this great man with great policy positions? No. And what he was responding to there with the banning travel from predominantly Muslim countries, that's something he recently was revoicing support for. And Lindsey Graham, are we going to hear the analysis they did in the past? No, because it's all about when they criticize Trump for being a narcissist, when they criticize him for just being focused on himself, they are doing the same thing by supporting Trump because they think, I don't know, this is going to keep me relevant, this is going to keep me supported in the GOP, instead of taking the path of high character.
Yeah, again, just dealing with the trauma of getting first Ted Cruz and then 2 back-to-back Lindsey Grahams, trying to parse through that and also provide meaningful political analysis is difficult. I will say to the Democrats, in favor of the Democrats, I'll give them kudos here. They routinely, again, MSNBC, the Democrats on Twitter, they collate these clips and juxtapose them back to back because they're, number one, hilarious. These people are so pathetic. Lindsey Graham is so profoundly pathetic. Ted Cruz might be the most pathetic. You know, you look at other Republicans, people like Mitch McConnell, who goes out of his way simply to just not engage with Trump or not to respond to Trump, because Mitch McConnell, for all his nefariousness, you know, he sees Trump as basically, he saw him as a tool or somebody he could, like, he could be a barnacle clinging to Trump along the way and then just eject whenever. But Lindsey Graham and Ted Cruz, they have put themselves in a position where, unlike Mitch McConnell, they have to be part of the cult of personality. That last clip, I had forgotten all about it because Lindsey Graham has tears in his eyes when he's Donald J. Trump. And like I don't even know how to respond to that. And I don't know if it's sincere, because that's the thing. Unlike Ted Cruz, that looked like genuine emotion from Lindsey Graham. So the clips you provided here, I think, like a weird contrast.
I think what it is, Josiah, is that he's hearing how just against his own principles what's coming out of his mouth is. He's like, I hate myself for this. That's what the authentic emotion is that you're picking up on.
He could be that, or he stubbed his toe, something like that. Somebody told him, somebody said, imagine what your dearly departed friend John McCain would think of you right now. Maybe that was the thing that, you know, and say people have their legitimate grievances with Senator McCain, but whether you like him or not, whether you agree with him or not, he was a man of principle in the sense that there was relative consistency there. He was a statesman in the Republican Party. Again, would have never voted for him. You know, I don't think he would have been a great president, but you want to talk about a stark contrast between that aspect of the GOP and what it's now become. It's just profoundly pathetic.
And what I say a lot of times with clips like this, I think this should be a lesson for us all, okay? When we see Ted Cruz flip-flopping and being humiliated for it, Lindsey Graham, I've talked about in the past Mike Pence, who for his own political gain, while he did the correct thing on January 6th, and we give him a lot of credit for that, in the build-up to that, all those years, he violated his principle time and time again as a very religious guy to back Trump and to not speak out against him and to be his vice president. And for all of these individuals who do that, who kiss up to Trump, lick his boots, and stand by him for political purposes, they violate their own principles to do so because they think it will benefit them in the short term. They end up being humiliated because, of course, they will be. And so for us, let this be a lesson. Even if the next step, it seems like, okay, maybe if I'm just a little bit dishonest, I violate my principle here and there, that'll help me the most because it'll bring more money in, or it'll bring more, in their case, it'll be something that will benefit them politically. This should remind us that a life of high character, choosing the path of honesty, it will lead you away from having to deal with that. If you're just analyzing it from that perspective, I've said before, the path of dishonesty inevitably leads, Josiah, to humiliation.
And it inevitably leads to me having to watch these clips, which again was a torturous experience.
Thank you so much for watching this video. For the outro, I want to quickly plug Josiah's channel. Hit them with it, Josiah.
All right, folks, you can find me at youtube.com/@ponderingpolitics, one word. If you like progressive politics, if you like the Republican Party being called out, and if you like collaborations with Luke Beasley, hit me up there.